Good afternoon and welcome to everybody who's joining us for today's webinar for Spindle document distribution and Paythem. We're very pleased to have Zoe Young from Draycir joining us today to go through that solution. And there'll be an opportunity for you to interact with us at the end on any questions you may have. But without any delay, I'm going to pass over to you now, Zoe, to start the session for us. Thank you.
Superb. Many thanks for the introduction there, Jeremy, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today. So you're probably wondering, who am I? So my name is Zoe. I'm from a company called Draycir. We're an independent software vendor, which basically means that we create add-on solutions for accounting software such as Sage X3 and also Sage Intacct as well. So we were established back in 2001. We have over 138,000 users, and that is worldwide. So we don't just work with Sage here in the UK and Ireland, but much more on a global scale as well. All the solutions you're going to see today have been accredited already by Sage, and I'm pleased to say that X3 Consulting are also accredited not only to sell our software, but also to install and support all of the Draycir solutions you're going to see today. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at today, we're going to look at two different solutions which actually merge into one solution. And that is, first of all, Spindle document distribution. And I'll also be adding in there a more recent addition, because it has been relaunched in recent months, and that is also Paythem, which is an add-on if you need it. So there might be a requirement for some of you and not others. That's absolutely fine. If you do want Paythem, you will need Spindle document distribution, but you can use Spindle document distribution on its own. So what is Spindle document distribution? Well, I will say it's a really simple tool that has so many features within it, and hopefully I'll be able to show you all of those features today. So if you think about it, in Sage, whether that's Sage X3 or whether it's Intacct, Spindle document distribution is a tool you can use to send out the documents from Sage. So whether that is your sales invoices, whether that's your statements, purchase orders, remittances, whatever it is, we can use Spindle document distribution to do that. And you're probably saying, but my system already does that. So why do I need Spindle document distribution? And that's where all of the features come into play of what Spindle does, because obviously it doesn't replicate exactly what Sage does. It has far more features than that. So one of the big things in everybody's business is the amount of money we spend on your corporate identity, the branding and things like that. And it's very often that we will see anything going out from a finance software. All of a sudden, you'll send out something, say, like a sales invoice, and the email content is very bland. It's just plain text, no logos or anything else. So anything else I'm sending out from the business has got a lovely signature strip and everything else. So actually, Spindle can even help with that, because it is Spindle that is sending it out using your email client that you're using now, but it can also create that email content. It's also very good as well if you've got multiple brands within your company. Maybe you've got 3 different brandings. Then Spindle can also help with things like that as well. So not only can it change the branding accordingly on whatever it is I'm sending out, so as we said, sales invoices, statements, etc., but also in the content of the email as well. It can replicate the correct branding for what is being sent out to that customer. Now, another really popular feature of Spindle is the ability to add extra attachments to the emails. Are there any backing documents that you need to send out? Maybe when you send a purchase order, is it a delivery instruction that you need to send out with it? Maybe it's every time you send out a a sales invoice that you need to attach some kind of backing document as well. So Spindle can do this, so long as there's logic put in place. Spindle can easily do this as an automation, rather than you creating these documents, putting in the drafts, then finding the document, then attaching it, then sending it out. Now, probably my favorite feature, but that's because I started life in a credit control department, was Every time I used to send out statements, people used to contact me to ask for copy invoices. So actually, a fantastic feature of Spindle document distribution is actually the ability to send out my statements from Sage, and automatically that email of that statement will automatically attach the outstanding copy invoices as well. So now my customer has no excuse not to pay me on time because we have already provided them with those copy invoices. In order to do that, Spindle will have previously have archived the sales invoice, but again, that's done as an automation. So anything we're sending out using Spindle, we can automatically archive the document that's being sent. And in the instance of sending out a statement and automatically attaching the copy invoices, obviously that is exactly what's happened. Now, we can archive in a destination of your choice, whether that's SharePoint, SharePoint Online, somewhere on your network. So it can automatically archive in any of those areas. But not only that, also create the file structure as well. So there is nothing for the end user to then do. Quicker payments. So we have seen a huge increase in card payments in recent years, mainly because people have realized if you're giving your customer 30 days, if they pay by card, they've just extended it by another 30 days. So now their payment terms for themselves is 60 days. But also, because of the amount of perks that credit card companies give today, it's another reason why we're seeing an influx of card payments in business. So obviously, we've gone with that trend, and we also now have the ability to put an automated Pay Now button on whichever document you want. That could be a pro forma, could be a quote, could be invoices and statements. So today, I'm also going to be showing you our Paythem solution. So in a nutshell, the Paythem solution comes with its own portal. Obviously, the key element of it, it will automate putting a Pay Now button on whichever document you want, but then your customer can very easily click on the payment link and obviously make payment as well. So yes, they can make card payments currently, but coming soon, we will have the choice on whether your customer wants to pay by card or pay by open banking, so a direct transfer link, or it could either have one or the other or both. So because Draycir ourselves are not a bank, we rely on a payment provider in order to take the money. So we've partnered with 3 different payment providers for that to happen, which are Elavon, who were formerly Sage Pay, Stripe, and also Draycir Pay, which is powered by Total Processing. So in order for the Pay Now button to take payment, you would need an account with one of those 3 payment providers. So within the portal as well, we can see the status of those payments. We'll be able to see if payment requests have been sent out, and we can also see if payments have been received as well. So without further ado, let's jump into the software and let's see how all of this works. Of course, if anyone has any questions throughout the demonstration, please don't hesitate to use the chat functionality in order to ask any questions. Okay, so how you use Spindle will be exactly the same as how you're producing the documents out of Sage at the moment. So I don't need to go to that level. Of course, you already know how to do that. But obviously what I am going to show you is what Spindle can actually produce. So I'm just going to go straight into my Outlook here so we can see. So I've already created some documents, so I'll be able to go through those with you. So let's open up this first email. So this is me just sending out a simple sales invoice. So as you can see, first of all, we have a really nice email content. Spindle has created that for me. I've also taken some values from Sage itself, things like invoice number, the company name, contact name, etc. We can also put hyperlinks in here as well. Because we're using Spindle, we have the ability to change that subject line to whatever it is you want it to be. We also have the ability to change the PDF name as well. So this is all because I'm using Spindle itself. All the configuration will be done with one of the accredited consultants at X3 Consulting, so you don't have to worry about the setup. It's all done for you. It's just that when you send out the documents, this is exactly what can be achieved. So when I've sent out this particular invoice earlier on this morning, what it has also done is automatically archive that sales invoice just there. So let's have a look at the archive itself. So as I said before, we can archive it in several different places, whether that's like myself on the network, SharePoint, or SharePoint Online. And what this has actually done is created, I've said I would like all invoices to go to this file structure here. So my C drive /archive/sales. And then what it's done is automatically created, if it wasn't already there, the customer, because that's how I would like it to be archived. So it's got the customer name just here, and within that, it's archived all of the sales invoices, as you can see. And later on, that's where the statement's going to pick up the invoice from as well. So if I do need a copy, rather than go through my sent items or doing a reprint, I could simply go to that folder to find it. So now you can see some of the configurations that we can do from Spindle. The other configuration we can do when we send out any of these documents is the ability for it either to go to drafts first and then you will send it out, or whether you want it to go straight out to sent. So I'll often find that people will say, happy for all my invoices or my statements to go straight out to my sent items. However, something like a credit note, I'd like it in drafts first for me to check it. So we can have different automations for different document types. Now, another thing that I mentioned earlier on was the ability to have multi-branding throughout this software. So for myself, if we have a look at the email content here, we can see I'm using a red pepper on this particular one. But in the same invoice run, I also had a customer, which is a trade customer, and they see a different branding. So they had a green pepper. But also in the same invoice run, I had some construction customers, and they see this yellow pepper. So it's the configuration of Spindle that can actually say what the branding will look like in the content of the email, which will also be replicated by the attachment as well. So when I go into the invoice here, we can see the yellow pepper. If I was to go back down here, this one here will be the green pepper. And how this is doing it, if you imagine that Spindle is almost creating an electronic letterhead. So actually all the content here is just standard Sage, and it didn't have the logo on or any of this red branding here. Spindle's actually laid that over the top. So therefore, I only have one invoice layout, and I'm putting the electronic letterhead over the top, which I can obviously then achieve my multi-branding without the end user of Sage even needing to know which branding it needs to be, because Spindle has the configuration, the logic has already been put in place in order so it knows which one to use. So in this example I'm showing here, I sent out an invoice. I've also got another great little feature, and that was every time an invoice is sent out, I would like the salesperson to also receive an email so they know an invoice of theirs has been processed. So you can see for each one of these, the customer email next to it, automatically the salesperson, in my case here, received an email so they know something has been processed. So by clicking on the invoice here, you'll actually see I watermarked it as being the salesperson copy as well. Something we do here internally at Draycir, and it is really helpful because it builds that bridge between the accounts department and the sales department. Don't have to keep chasing. Say if you process that order, I can see it's actually been processed. So very similar, we can do that on things like statements as well. So let's have a look at statements. So before we go into these attachments here, just so you can see, when I sent out this statement earlier on, the salesperson was copied in because it's overdue. If it wasn't overdue, they wouldn't have been sent it. So again, building that bridge so the salesperson knows that something's overdue. So let's go back to the statement and have a look what I've created here. So as we saw earlier on, the sales invoices are automatically archived. So that then means with the configuration in Spindle, when I'm sending out my statements, I can say, can you also attach all of the copy invoices? And that's exactly what happened. So how you trigger your statements is exactly the same. However, you're going to use Spindle to do it. And then this is exactly what happens. I've even managed to put some aging buckets in, which is great because my customer is going to receive this and see this is really overdue. But the other feature that I've used, which is Spindle once again, I've actually put this overdue stamp. So we saw the salesperson watermark earlier on. This is obviously a heavier watermark, and it says overdue. So, you know, if I was opening this, straight away I'd think, right, I need to get them on the payment run next week because it's overdue, because I've made it very clear. As I say, if it wasn't overdue, that overdue stamp wouldn't be there because it wouldn't put that watermark on it. So again, I'm a customer now. I've received the statement. I can see it's overdue, but I can also see all the copy invoices. Great, I'm ready to make payment. So let's have a look at a next feature for you. So looking at statements now. So you might be thinking, Zoe, it's a great idea to attach all the copy invoices. However, I have a customer that actually might have quite a few invoices overdue at the same time. So actually, it's going to block when I'm sending it out or the customer receiving it because there's going to be too many attachments. And this is where also we can start looking at the Paythem functionality. So let me go back to my invoices first of all. So if you would like your customers to have the ability to pay now by card, we can see now I've got a hyperlink here in the content of the email. By clicking on the invoice itself, we can see a Pay Now button. Now we saw where we can archive on the network, SharePoint, etc. But actually also what's happening is the invoice is being archived in Azure. So we have this view document. Now, obviously, I've just done a Pay Now button. I've clicked from the invoice. I don't really need to see the invoice at this point. But actually, if I do need to refer back to it, it's very easy. I can click on the hyperlink just there. So if I do want to make payment here, next step, fill in my card details. Let's just populate this and pay now. So that's how easy it is for me to pay. And that's just looking at an invoice. Remember, that could have been a pro forma. It could have been on a quote maybe, anything at all like that. So that's how it works for an invoice. Let's have a look at this statement. You'll know why now I was telling you about all the different attachments. So this one just here, I've got a click to pay on this statement here, but I've got all my attached invoices there. Now what I've done is the same invoice, but the same statement. But what I've done here, and you can almost see a little bit here, a snippet of what I'm about to show you. So yes, I can pay now for this statement, but should you require a copy of the invoice, click here. Because let's go to the statement. This time, let's press pay now on the statement. And what I'll be able to see is every single transaction, as you can see here. And of course, now you can see why that is so powerful, because I haven't attached the copy invoices because they're here now. And I only have that because I'm using the Pay Now functionality. So as a customer, am I pay? Oh, there's the one I've just paid actually. It's already marked here that it's been paid. So if I don't want to pay for all of them, let's just pay for those top two. I can actually deselect the invoices I don't want to pay for. It might be that I've got some that are in query or something like that. So I can actually just say which ones it is that I want to pay for. If I just select, let's just select those top two there. There we go. So that's the one that I want to pay for. So now if I just make payments on there, as easy as that, I've made payment. Incidentally, at this point here, your customer will receive an email, so you know the payment's gone through successfully, but you will also get an email as well. So by clicking back into that Pay Now button, There you go. You can see that it's already been paid. So really swift and really easy in order to use the Pay Now button. And you can see that benefit of that hyperlink there for the view document. So currently, as I say, we only have card payments. This will change in the near future for also including open banking. So it might be for the payment method here, I give the customer a choice of either card or open banking. Or I would say I either want them to pay by card or I want them to pay by open banking. There is actually a portal in the background for Paythem as well, where I'll be able to see all of the requests that have gone through. These are all the transactions that I've processed today. And we can also see any payments that have come through. So there's the 2 payments that I've just done this morning as well. If I wanted to do an export of all payments that have come through, I have the facility to do that. Most people, I would say, from the customers already using it, generally wait for the statement to come through from their payment provider before they then reconcile it back to Sage. And that's absolutely fine. But we do have the functionality here to export from here if you want to reconcile from there. We're actually grabbing the account data as well when we're sending something out. And the reason for that is that you might want to do some configuration changes per account. For an example, would I like my customer to have the ability to edit the value? So this comes into play if, say, I'm sending a pro forma and I want them to pay 50% of it, it gives them the flexibility to do it. So by default, I don't allow that to happen, but I can easily change it per account to say, actually, my Abbey retail customer, I'm more than happy for them to edit the value when they go into the payment page just here. So as you can see now, I can actually change that and say, actually, I'm only paying £500 of that particular one. So there are lots of configurations that you can do within the software to tailor it to how you want it to work. Okay, so that is the Paythem software. So Spindle itself is extremely flexible, as you can see, lots of different configurations that you can do, and the secret behind all of this is all automated. So if you are used to creating URL links to send out to your customer for payments, of course, it's automatically done for you, so it does save you a lot of time. If you're getting lots of queries for copy invoices when you're sending out statements, as you can see, we've absolutely covered that for you as well. And also attaching backing documents to, say, sales invoices or your purchase orders, whatever it is, the software can handle all of those situations. Okay. Right, so today was really to give you some highlights information of both Spindle document distribution and also Paythem. I've just had someone ask me what the 3 payment providers are. So just to reiterate, that is Elevon, which was formerly SagePay. We also work with Total Processing and also Stripe as well. So I don't think there's any other questions in the chat. I will hand you back to Jeremy, but I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's joined the session today, and hopefully I've been able to show you the possibilities that you could do with Spindle and also Paythem. Over to yourself, Jeremy. Hopefully Jeremy's there. Okay then, so I don't think we're going to get Jeremy back. Okay, so anyone that has any questions at all, as you can see, Jeremy's contact details are on the slide in front of us now. So if you do have any questions or queries or want a quotation, or even if you want a one-to-one demonstration, then please just contact Jeremy and he'll be able to help. Otherwise, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.